Hey, this is Matt once again. What about the other videos? It's a paid request. It's time for Ben. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for, like I said, Ben, who wanted me to talk about The Truman Show. Now, The Truman Show is a film that I've always enjoyed. I always thought it was a pretty damn good flick. It has Jim Carrey in it. And like I said, I always thought it was a nice, welcome change for him as an actor because at this time, for the most part, Jim Carrey was top of the world. I mean, this was 1998. And you gotta understand that this is a time when Jim Carrey was king. King of comedy, king of the box office, because he was in Living Color, the TV show, which was decently successful. And then right out of the gate, his first big film, I should say, because he was in small parts in films, The Deadpool with Clint Eastwood, Once Bitten. Guess you could technically say he was a star of that. But Ace Ventura Pet Detective seemed like his big jump. That was 94, and boom, became a big hit. Critics didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. It's my favorite Jim Carrey film. And the same year he had that film, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask. So Ace Ventura Pet Detective in the beginning of the year, The Mask in the summer, and Dumb and Dumber near Christmas time. November, December. Each one became a bigger and a bigger and a bigger hit, and you're like, wow, 1 year, 3 box office successes, a new star is born. Even though he had been in the industry for a while, for many people it was the first time they had seen him. So then 95, Batman Forever, does well. So he could do anything he wants. So he does The Cable Guy. Gets $20 million. Of course, he got $20 million because they saw this guy seemed unstoppable. Cable Guy is the first bit that showed he could be stoppable. Although I like The Cable Guy, I think it's a fun movie. It didn't do great at the box office. I think it made $60 million in the U.S. So when people look at that and they go, well, $20 million of the budget was to Jim Carrey alone, and the film only made $60 million. And it was, I guess, a tough sell for people. It was a black comedy. It was a dark comedy. People were not used to seeing Jim Carrey that way, but I think it's a fun movie. Ben Stiller directed it. It has Matthew Broderick in it. So, at least at the same year, he actually, scratch that, a year before, he also had Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. So that and Batman Forever were 2 successful hits. So, 3 in 94, 2 in 95, 5 big hits in 2 years. It's almost unheard of. So as they went along, Cable Guy kind of stuttered a bit, but then boom, 1997 you had Liar Liar. He's back up on top. And now Jim Carrey wants to stretch his acting muscles a bit. And you could say this is his first step into drama. Still has some comedy in it. But The Truman Show, Peter Weir directed it. This guy worked with Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society. So he knew about working with a comedic talent and bringing some acting, like dramatic momentum out of him. And Peter Weir did a good job, both with Robin Williams and here with Jim Carrey. And I like the idea behind the film. And it's kind of prevalent in today's age because in the Twitch and other universe where we could see people, some 24/7. I mean, nowadays it wouldn't be a TV show, it would be just streaming. Like, if you change this to just streaming on a computer or a phone, it'd be fairly appropriate today. Because how many times do people, there are Twitch streamers that stream 24 hours a day, or they stream 5 days a week, and people pop in, they live vicariously through this person, through these folks, through these people. What do they do? What do they think? What do they feel? Now, granted, on the flip side, it's done to comedy potential, because like if I did that, even the diehard, if I have a diehard fan of mine, they're not going to care to see me brush my teeth or go to bed and leave the computer on at that. So that's what I mean. It's taking that and going the maximum craziness of it, where ever since he was born, Jim Carrey's character Truman, the whole world has witnessed his life live through people's eyes. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have more portions of like a semblance of an audience being angry, upset, mad, protesting. Really, the only bit you get is the female character who is Truman's true love, to put it that way. But you didn't see a lot of other fighting, argument, pushback on it. Now maybe that would not have made interesting material or drama. Just that's up to the viewer. It seemed a little bit, that people, for the most part, seemed very acceptable in this idea of this guy just being trapped in his world, and that the audience looks at him more as a character than as a person. Maybe you can look at that and go, well, that's a bit weird, the reactionary, but again, maybe that's the point, is that if they see it on TV, especially at the time, they just think it must all be fake. Even if you know it's real, it must all be fake. When the only true thing about the show is Truman himself. But I still like the idea. Like, what if you were in a place where everybody but you were in on the, can't even say joke, but in on the act? Like, what if you lived on a TV show and you're the only person that didn't know that? So every person you talk to, you realize you can't trust. Everything you do, you realize you could be watched. And all these errors start happening where lights start falling from the sky because it's a set, but he doesn't know that yet. Or rain is dropping just on him but not on anywhere else, and he's moving away. Oh, like he was God before Bruce Almighty. Or on the radio, something happens, and now he can hear what the director's telling the people to do this, to do that, and it's describing everything around him. And I just think with the pacing, it never got boring. The other actors, being actors, they play their roles well. You had the guy that was the best friend, and there was a part of me that just really hated that character because he could lie so dead-faced to Truman. And I'm like, you manipulative sumbitch. If it was in on it, that means I'd have to be on it, Truman. He's like, you. Then there's his wife, who is only there for the acting gig, and every once in a while she'll do these commercials for items, and even to a point Jim Carrey goes, who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Because she's so used to doing like these advertisements in the middle. Oh, we could get some of this coffee, the scrumptious flavors. And how they try to fit advertising into it. I thought it was pretty clever. I do think it's a very clever show. Some people may say sentimental or sappy. I thought it was heartwarming because I think Jim Carrey sold it. I think the score is very well done too. I think it has a very lovely musical score. And this is one of the reasons why I liked it more than Ed TV. Like Ed TV after this tried to do the same thing. Or it was after this, but I don't remember. It seemed like around the same time though. But I think Truman Show came out first. And that was Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey and Ron Howard directed it. And that's where Matthew McConaughey knew he was on TV and he accepted it and said, fine, come on in. But I guess in a weird way, like that's one of the reasons why Truman Show worked and Ed TV didn't. What made Truman Show more interesting, more heartfelt, kind of more funny, is because your lead guy is the one out of the loop. And for a good chunk of it, he's out of the loop, and it's a journey of him figuring this out. And so, as an audience member, you're hoping that he figures this out. You hope he gets out of this situation. You hope he'll make it through to what these assholes are doing to him and what these people are manipulating him. So you have more of a weird way of more of an interconnection with the lead character. Ed TV, it was more about who's sleeping with who, like type of stuff you would see on a crappy reality show, which I know was part of the point of Ed TV, but I didn't need to see that again when so many other actual reality shows were doing the same thing. So Truman Show, in a way, felt a bit more unique in what it was doing compared to that. And again, the way they made the whole town look so picturesque and seemingly perfect haven, the way Ed Harris, who plays the creator of the show, kind of god of the whole thing, just how he really believes in the BS he's selling. Even by the end of the film, when he's trying to talk to Truman, he really buys the BS he's selling. When, let's face it, it's all about the bottom dollar. Where, yeah, it takes like a wealth of a small country to make the show, but also the show makes that much money too. So it's all down to the bottom dollar. And Jim Carrey did a good job with the acting. He did a good job showcasing what him being nice and kind and cool to people, the confusion and what's going on, to trying to fight the system, like when he gets in the car and his wife is next to him and driving all crazy. It's fun, huh? You want to do it again? Oh, there's all these cars. He goes in a circle. Oh, wow. No cars anymore. That's weird. Huh, very strange. To being angry and confused. And like I said, I thought it was a nice first step into dramatic arena for Jim, which he would later do with Man on the Moon, which I like this more than Man on the Moon. He would do a variety of other projects as well. He did one with Ewan McGregor. I forgot the name of it though. They try to do serious stuff like The Number 23 and other movies, and like 98, 99 is kind of when, other than maybe Me, Myself, and Irene, the Grinch, like he still had hits, but after that it kind of started simmering down, where you would see kind of less either hits or less mainstream success or marketability. Really until he did Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. Like, weirdly enough, those are probably the two films that brought him back for a little bit into the public eye. And a lot of people felt, oh, we missed you. That type of feeling. And there may be younger people who just forget just how big Jim Carrey was at this time. I know there was talk like maybe he would get an Oscar nomination, Oscar win. That didn't happen. He didn't win anything. I don't remember if he was nominated. I mean, I don't know if it was Oscar-worthy performance. That's doing a bit much, but I think it was a good performance. I wouldn't say Oscar. I mean, he's playing like a nice guy, driven a bit crazy. It's a good job. And I'm bad with names. I forget the actress that plays his true love. She's really the only one in the entire film voicing understandable anguish of what you're doing to this guy. You're messing with his life. You're messing with his psyche. That's why I'm surprised they didn't have bits of like more of these folks. Or that, what is the law? Like, how does the law work in this? Where, wouldn't that technically be kidnapping? I mean, if you kidnap a kid, and the kid thinks he's living a normal life, I mean, I guess the parents said yes to be fair, so it's not kidnapping, but okay, wouldn't that be slavery then? Actually, no, would that be slavery? In a way, what Truman is, we're making you we're forced you to do this TV show against your will without you even knowing it. I mean, isn't that a kind of form of slavery type of thing? We're making you do to, and you don't get that money, and like, it feels like a lot of issues in this world that would be resulted if this happened. White slavery, there you go. Get political. I mean, it was interesting to see the other audience members, which they get invested with Truman. Paul Giamatti's actually, I forgot he was in this. He's one of the people that works with Ed Harris. I mean, I recognize that guy. I do wonder, like, there's a part of me that wonders if this would have worked better if we did not know it was a TV show at first and it's revealed to us, as well as Truman. Because I'm wondering, like, well, the Truman Show gives it away, to be fair. It's called The Truman Show. But I'm just wondering if it was called something else. And then this weird stuff, I can't think of a title, a good one. I'll just think of a name, a lame one, The Truman Syndrome, or something like that. But a better title. And the movie's going along, and then you see these weird stuff happening, and we're in Truman's point of view. Now, man, we could probably figure it out a lot quicker than Truman, so it would be eye-opening. But then it could maybe point these little doubts of what's going on, and like, is this a bit prank? Is this part of like a reality, like a prank show? And then you realize, oh my God, it's a TV show, and oh my God, none of it is real. Oh my God, everybody's in on it. Oh my God, this has been happening since he was born. Like, I do wonder if that was a reveal, like in the middle, if that could be more interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe that's up to the viewer. I still like the film as is. Like I said, I do wonder if it had approached in that direction. Would that be better? Would that be worse? I don't know. And there's a part of me that kind of wishes. There's another movie that came out not too long ago, Free Guy, with Ryan Reynolds, which I thought was okay. I mean, I don't even remember much of the film, to be honest. Why do you review it? I don't remember the film. I thought it was okay. But I will admit, like, that's a guy who doesn't realize he's in a video game. Kind of like this guy doesn't realize he's in a TV show. I kind of wish Free Guy approached it like this a bit more. Like, if Ryan Reynolds, maybe his character acted a bit normal, per se. And, like, he's talking like any of us would talk. Like some NPCs do in video games. Not all of them talk, hello, how's it going, friend? And he's realizing what he's being told to say and do is like, what? Uh, I didn't mind Free Guy. It was missing a little bit of the heart and oomph that this film had. I don't know how else to word it. But it does have some sweet music, especially by the end of the film. And spoilers for the ending. You know, he's afraid of the water. They made him, manipulate him to be afraid of the water. He finally gets on there. He goes along. Ed Harris is trying to convince him this is the perfect place to stay. You think he's gonna... Now, granted, I don't know why. The ship is on the water. It hits a wall, which makes sense. It's a set. Ultimately, there's going to be a wall. But I would think, with the amount of money they had, they would have just set it on an island, and they would have just had ships out there around instead of just an actual... Well, actually, they wanted to manipulate the weather, to be fair. They don't... so I do... I guess I can understand that. I guess what I'm getting at is that he hits the wall and he walks a bit, and there has to be a pair of stairs. I don't know why those stairs are there. But I guess so someone can come out and, I don't know, take a smoke break or paint the wall again. I mean, the wall's painted. You think the ladder would be taken away? Someone just left a ladder there. And I don't mean like a ladder, I mean like a staircase. And there happens to be a door that's unlocked. Like, thank God the door was unlocked. Do you imagine if there was a door like, good afternoon, good evening, good night? He can't open the door and he's kicking it and it's locked and he can't do anything. He's sitting there, I can't get out. Credits. Can you imagine that? But I'm sure Ed Harris would fire the guy now who didn't lock that door. Why didn't you lock that fucking door? And just create a nice semblance of, what happens next. Which I think is actually one of the things the girl had, something to that effect. What's going to happen next. And, the final shot's kind of, not ironic, but it's kind of fitting. Where the viewer sees this momentous thing and then goes, what's next? What's the next show? What's the next item? What's the next drama? What's the next thing to fill our lives with? So, definitely one of Jim Carrey's better movies. Like I said, I thought it did a nice mixture of... I mean, I wouldn't say it's absolutely hilarious. I would find a lot of his films more funny. Like the Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura 1 and 2, I'd say, are funnier movies than this. But like I said, the concept, some of the supporting actors, the Peter Weir's direction, the way the set design, to making this town look so Andy Griffith type of, almost like Pleasantville, if that was in color. Trying to look this like picturesque place. I like they showed a little bit of the history too, so at times, like Ed Harris will talk to someone and it's like, well, this is what happened when he was 10 and this is what happened when he was a kid. So you get a bit of how they were worked at the TV angle even before we as an audience meet up with these characters in this movie. So you see a bit of what the past was like. Overall, pretty solid film, The Truman Show. Still liked it to this day. I remember this did fairly well at the box office. And this is around the time you had Armageddon, the 1998 Godzilla, among other films. And this one did fairly well. Like I say, a lot of people thought it was like a nice stepping stone to doing stuff. Still comedic, but a little bit more serious as well. I can't remember what he did right after. Just 2000, he did Me, Myself, and Irene. And then around that time, he did the Grinch movie, Ron Howard. And then I can't remember what he did after that. But there you go. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.